If you are as excited as I am with that rendition, can we make that applause for her lot louder than that? Thank you so much, Yinka Davies. I'd like to mention that we're being joined virtually because this program is being televised on most of the social media platforms. It's being televised and we have them on Facebook, Twitter handles, and we have Ambassador Eniola Ajayi, Ambassador Mohammed Bello, and Katuga, Professor Ajaguna from Jamaica, join us virtually and watch proceedings of these events live in the various countries where they reside. Can we give all of them a resounding applause and a wave? They are seeing you, but you can't see them. Thank you so very much. We also recognize the presence of Alhaji Ibrahim Francis Omoro, the Nerman Kadi. We'd like to welcome you. Can we please give him a resounding applause, please? We thank you for coming. Moving on very quickly, Your Excellency, Your Imperial Majesty, we've actually introduced the author. It needs no further introduction. And even when we invited the book reviewer to come up here and reveal the book, he wants to step further to tell you a little bit about the author, the aspects that I didn't touch. And it is in the light of that, those of you blocking the view of His Imperial Majesty, auxiliary photographers and videographers alike, I'd like that you just establish your shorts and move to the side so that KBC can afford to watch the goings on in these events. I also welcome all of you that are seated from diverse parts of the Yoruba culture and tradition that have come to grace this event. Your Imperial Majesty, it is my honor and privilege at this time to invite to the rostrum a woman strong in character, ebullient, indefatigable, visionary, diplomat par excellence, very busy. Please join me in welcoming with a very resounding applause as a welcome to the podium our author for her remarks, Her Excellency. Please, I need to consult. Give me some live music quickly. I'll consult and I'll come back to you. Some quick adjustment, please just wait for us. Before we invite the author, Bisi just reminded me that in the course of the goodwill messages that we left out someone, an illustrious son who's been here with us all day and must lend his voice to the goodwill messages. I seek your kind permission to please bring up to the podium Professor Wahab Egbewole, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ilorin. I can hear the loud applause for him. Thank you so much. You're bringing up the rear with a goodwill message, sir. Thank you.
Obviously, the honors, the honors, distinguished Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure to be here this evening to witness this epoch-making occasion. It's important to congratulate the author who has deemed it fit to put this together, especially this time when we have misrepresentation, misinformation, misinterpretation at all levels. This will give credence to the status of the Ile Ife as the cradle of civilization, as the cradle of the world. I congratulate KBC for giving this event is impremature to ensure that it is not a fluke that Ile Ife is indeed the cradle of the world. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. I forgot that he's a senior advocate of Nigeria, and so that tells me that he's a legal luminary of very, very high standing. Please, let's give him another round of applause. Thank you very much, sir. Your Imperial Majesty, Julie Bishops says, and I quote, "Our cultural diversity and tradition has most certainly shaped our national character." And then Lady Cotton's probe says, and I quote, that when men are oppressed in a society, it is termed tragedy. When women are oppressed, it is said to be tradition. End of quote. This brings me to this point where I'll invite this great woman of substance. This woman who has got her teeth in the legislative act of lawmaking, rose to become the Nigerian High Commissioner to Jamaica with concurrent accreditation to Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and by extension the Caribbean, and has done so well and brought back home glory, encomiums, laurels to Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the author of this book that is about to be unveiled. Please join me in welcoming Her Excellency Maureen Tamuno, PhD. I can't hear that applause for this great woman, a historian, a diplomat par excellence, a woman who's standing in the National Committee of Nations has brought us much more than we can count in terms of good luck and adding to the GDP of Nigeria. Can we hear that applause for her one more time? Your Excellency, ma'am.
Thank you very much. The distinguished chairman of this occasion, His Imperial Majesty, Bisi, Oba Eniton Adeyeye Bisi. Thank you very much. I'd like to recognize the diplomats in our midst, and also to recognize the representative of the Chief of Naval Staff and others that are here, my friends from Ghana, the Senator Binta Garba, the Lagos Caucus, very, very distinguished gentlemen, the representative of the Chief of Naval Staff, captains of industry, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I decided to put up something so I don't talk for too long. You know, having been a legislator before, you might just think you will talk endlessly. So I decided to put something together so it will control the things that I'll say. I'm elated and very, very delighted to be a Nigerian. Thank you. And to say that I feel highly honored and privileged to stand before you today to talk about the book, The Cradle of the World. I'd like to say that a lot of talk has gone down concerning the linkages between the Yoruba stemming from Ile Ife, our beautiful city, to other parts of the world. But I tell you that none has really been documented for those in diaspora to be able to trace their roots. Most of you will wonder, she's not a Yoruba lady. How come she wrote this book? And so I'd like to tell you a little bit about it. Upon my appointment as High Commissioner and diplomat to 4 countries, I did my research and found out the cultural affinities, the linkages. And so I looked very deeply of who to go to, and I had to go to Bisi of the source. Thank you. And the day I got into the palace, I got the royal blessing of His Imperial Majesty. There was a lot of fanfare there in the palace, and it looked very familiar. And I was wondering, have I been here before? And I knew I had never been there before. And with the excitement, I went to Port Harcourt and I met my uncle and I told him the story. I showed him the photographs. And he said to me, it could be the time you were little, your grandmother used to work as the head of what we call the Egbele Remini, the leader of the women in the late King Amayanabo SPU Ogan's palace. And those women were very powerful. They're part of the coronation of kings. They're also part of women initiation. What we talk about initiation in rivers, we're talking about women that go to the fatting room and come out in those days in a beautiful ceremony where men see them and decide who to marry. My grandma was in charge of such. And I remember I was a handbag to those occasions. And so I placed it together and said, yes, my visit to Ife was a homecoming. And that was where this vision started. Now, you wonder, and so what happened next? I went to Jamaica in the midst of COVID. And as soon as I got there, a month later, I met a group of Jamaicans who came to meet me and said, please, we need to learn the Yoruba language. And I was wondering, I can't even speak the Yoruba language to teach. I can share a kushel, a wajoko, different things. And I'm going to learn it. And luckily, I got a volunteer who decided to teach these Jamaicans Yoruba language for 180 days. And I saw the commitment, I saw the enthusiasm, I saw the desire to learn, I saw the desire to connect, and it moved me. I thought that was all. Shortly after, I saw a troop of other people, not even only in Jamaica, in Haiti, in Dominican Republic. They'll come up to me to say, this is the result of my DNA. I've traced my DNA, I'm from Nigeria. Even some say I'm from Cameroon. And some went beyond tracing their DNA to Nigeria to reducing it to finding out where they're actually from. And most of them traced it to the Yoruba nation. So today, I decided to document it. Because when I go to universities and to colleges to talk to them, they ask me most times about the history and the culture. And they take me to the libraries. We don't have any documentation about the history. And so that's what me to write in this book. This book is written to inspire, to inform, encourage, and reaffirm the long-held beliefs of connecting the branches to the roots. To buttress this point, I was told an interesting story, Your Imperial Majesty, recently, about a white Cuban performing at a piano concert in Greece, Athens. Here, he acknowledged the origin of mankind, talked passionately about his roots to Africa, and paid obeisance to the Orishas before starting his performance. The man who was telling me this story is from Lebanese. He said he got goose pimple around him. Similarly, I had an experience in a Kampong community, and which I sent the pictures to Bisi while I was in that function in Jamaica, where prayers were being offered, and familiar things, and familiar, sayings like "I being said in response. And that reminded me of the great city of Ile Ife. The world agrees that the modern Homo sapiens originated from Africa, and indeed, according to our beliefs, has Ile Ife as the origin of modern civilization. And a lot of people have come to agree with this notion, as you will read in the coffee table book. This brings me to acknowledging and thanking some ambassadors whom are here and others that are not here. And especially the historians from Brazil, from Trinidad and Tobago, from Cuba, from Jamaica, South Carolina, Haiti, and to mention but a few, and others, for affirming the stories through their intellectual notes that has added value to this body of literature. In conclusion, Your Imperial Majesty, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my firm belief that this coffee table book Ile Ife, the cradle of the world, will be read in colleges, in universities, in libraries, hotels, etc. across the world, and will stand as a reference point to our rich history and cultural heritage. Before I end this particular address, I'd like to crave your indulgence and beg everyone in the hall to permit me at this juncture to say a big thank you to His Imperial Majesty, Bisi, whose support is invaluable. I use another word, immeasurable, to the realization of this dream. I am indeed very grateful. My appreciation goes to the team in Ife that worked tirelessly with those of my team members that went to Ife. And of course, my team in diaspora. A lot of people worked very hard. But this thank you cannot end without me thanking my family. My immediate senior sister is married to somebody from Abeokuta. She's Mrs. Dada. She's right here in this hall. And say thank you to them. And to my children that are watching us online, that are very excited about this. My entire family, my friends, I can see, on social media, the ambassadors from Netherlands, ambassadors from many countries are with us right here watching. I say thank you to all of you. Finally, remember, there was a lady that wrote a book, and she said the wings, she said the roots and the branches. And she chartered a private airline and flew the first connecting flight between Lagos and Jamaica, Montego Bay. And it took her only 11 hours, coming back with 9 hours. We're working very hard to connect West Africa through Nigeria to the Caribbean through Jamaica. And that will be done very shortly. Your Imperial Majesty, when I see the look on the faces of the people in the countries I represent, most times I can tell them precisely where they're from. And when I call another Nigerian, without telling him what I've done, and say, guess where this person is from? He says the same thing. Means that we have our people over there. Now, somebody was talking about the black race. No! This move of Ile Ife bringing the cradle of the world is beyond the black race. Even the white, even other races know that they can trace their roots back to the source. Finally, remember, Ile Ife as the source is the root to the branches of humanity. Ile Ife, I would like to say, is the cradle of the world. Thank you.
If you were here and you heard about the import of clapping, the health benefits of clapping, please celebrate it one more time. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. Thank you, and thank you indeed. Ralph Waldo Emerson, Imperial Majesty, says, culture opens the sense of beauty. Can you behold the beauty of Ile Ife even in your faces, in their attires, in their attires, in the spoken language, in the culture, in your conduct? Can you see that? Can you feel it? Please give it up one more time for Ile Ife, the cradle of civilization, the cradle of the world. It is at this point in time, another descendant of Odua is coming on stage. 2006, when Wesley Snipes visited Nigeria for the very first time and traced his roots to Nigeria, I was privileged to be the anchor person, the master of ceremony in Abuja at that ceremony. Grandiose. And today this lady was with us and welcomed Wesley Snipes with her drumming. You know who I'm talking about. Highly celebrated female drummer in the universe. Join me in welcoming Ara Olamuniwa, the drummer. I can hear that applause if you're proud of your cultural tradition.